All right, we can give that a round of applause. That's the great state of Texas. So delighted to be here this morning, and Pedro, thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, where's Mercedes? Is she in? All right, over there. Good. Congratulations on your appointment as well. And Roger, nice seeing you and just a number of different folks that have served with us at the workforce, not the commission, but on the boards that are out there. We appreciate the opportunity to the board for being here. Phaedra kind of mentioned some. We're running buddies, and so I have about 15 minutes to be up here, and I recognize my audience. She haven't given you guys a break at all. It's back to back to back to back. And so I recognize the audience, and I'll make sure that I finish fast so that you'll clap for me at the end. But Phaedra is a running buddy of mine, and Phaedra, you mentioned this 10,000 square feet miles around here. And I thought about a challenge that you and I should probably do. We should probably run at least a 5K in each county, each one of your counties, all right? So you guys hold up to that, and we're going to mark it off from that standpoint. We'll make sure that we do that. I've already done my run here in McKinney, got that one done, so Collin County is off the list in that regard. But I'm delighted to be here, Chairman. So glad to see you today as well. I had an opportunity to serve as Commissioner representing employers at the Texas Workforce Commission for a number of years, appointed by Governor Abbott to that position, and had the ability to work with Chairman and at the time Julian Alvarez, and now we have Alberto Trevino representing labor as well, but just delighted to work in that regard. Saw Judy McDonald out here. Judy may be at the back, but that's a partner of Power of Partnerships, and you see a number of individuals that are collaborating together. I always say that the secret sauce in Texas is when you bring together the world of workforce, economic development, and education, then we're well on our way to success. And in this room today, you have workforce, economic development, and education. You couple that with elected leadership who gets it, and we're well on our way to success. And we have elected leadership here as well. See, Judge, over here, nice seeing you, and the work that you guys do day in and day out to make a difference in our state means a lot. Texas, we're traveling the world, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about, hopefully this goes over, talk a little bit about a few things. And we have a PowerPoint presentation, and so Bonnie's going to click the clicker. I don't have a clicker here, but we'll bring it up on stage. How many of you guys feel like that? That's the great state of Texas, the 8th largest economy in the world. You can drive, you can clap on that one. That's a good one. So you're driving 14 hours and you're still in the great state of Texas. Not a bad thing at all. But we're proud of our state, the only state that probably has a swimming pool in Houston in the shape of Texas. We're very proud of our state in that regard. Bonnie, hit the next slide. I hate saying next slide, but I'm going to have to do that for this one. This is what we do at the Texas Economic Development Corporation. I'm not going to assume that you know everything that we're doing. There are a bunch of TEDCs. We're the Texas Economic Development Corporation. There's the Temple Economic Development Corporation, the Terrell Economic Development Corporation, the Tyler Economic Development Corporation, but we're TXEDC, and this is a separate 501c3 organization that was under the governor's office for a long time. When Governor Abbott came into office in 2015, separated that out, and our goal is really to assist with the marketing efforts of Texas. We fundraise in that regard, and we do that working hand in hand with Adriana Cruz and her team. Adriana heads up the Economic Development and Tourism team. I've had that position at one point. Chairman has had that position at one point as well, but that's the boots on the ground for everything economic development related. Adriana has a dynamic team doing a phenomenal job, known as the quarterback. Governor gave her a new tag the other day, called it the Fast Pass. If you need anything from that standpoint, get in touch with Adriana, and we're well on our way to success. I see a lot of our partners in here. I'm looking at Jason, and just a number of folks that are basically a part of our corporation as well. But we're set up to really assist with those marketing efforts throughout Texas, and we do that hand in hand with the Economic Development and Tourism team. Next one. It's our board of directors. We have a solid board of directors. A lot of them are made up of CEOs. You may recognize some of those faces, some of those names. Arun Argawal was recently appointed chair by the governor, and we just added a new board member. I think he's up there, maybe he's not on there right now, but Tom Mason out of the Energy Transfer was added to our board as well. And so that's a solid list of individuals that are well positioned to do some great things here in Texas, helping us market the state, and they'll go out with us basically selling and telling that story. Anytime you're talking to CEOs, CEO to CEO, they get it. They begin to understand why it's important to be in Texas, and we're real proud. I'm proud to work for that board that's appointed. Vicki Hollop was the former chair and CEO. She's the CEO of Oxy Petroleum, served as our board chair for a while. So powerful. We're in India, and we'll talk about a little bit of some of the trips. We're talking with the third richest person in India, a billionaire there, and Vicki Hollop's name just rotates off of his mouth. I mean, it comes out of his mouth just like that. And that's the power of what we're doing here in Texas. That's our India business mission there. Adrian has it up there. When we go on these missions, the governor's leading the missions. And so this one, we're actually in India, Namaste, India, from that standpoint. India, larger than China in terms of their population, 75th democracy. They were celebrating their 75th anniversary of being a democracy, which means it's easier to do business over there. And that's coming up. You know, if you're not doing business in China or so, India is right next door, and some opportunities for us to really do some amazing things. Frisco Economic Development Corporation was with us on that trip, and a number of other folks as well. We go there with a delegation. Governor comes in. We're having a number of different meetings, making an impact. And then the whole goal is that those communities have an opportunity to really go back on their own if they need to. We open the doors as much as we can, but they're in a position to go back over there. What's happening in India is pretty phenomenal. I was with the guys from McKinney on yesterday, toured their city, and congratulations, you're going to hear from the mayor a little bit later. But the things they're doing in this region is pretty phenomenal. The city of McKinney, pretty amazing. Jason Frisco was brought up a number of different times. Stephanie, I mean, it's just the work that they're doing in the collaboration and the regional approach. And Phaedra, again, hats off for bringing that regional approach as well. It's something that's working in a big way. But when we go on these trips, and Bonnie, you can go back to India trip. When we're going on those trips, we're making sure that at that table, that far right-hand picture over there, that's our delegation that's here. We can talk about Texas, and we have a great business climate in this state. We're doing some phenomenal things, but the rubber meets the road at the local level. If we don't have our act together at the local level, things are not happening. So we're very excited about the delegations that are with us on that trip. Followed by the India trip, we hit the UK, and that was a small trip that we took, but Governor with the Prime Minister, then the Prime Minister, but signing an MOU over there because the UK, that's a nice trading partner for us. I'm going to go over a few stats that I kind of wrote down that kind of speaks to what we're doing on the FDI side. It says the U.S. is the world's most popular country for FDI. That's foreign direct investment. In Texas, it's the beating heart of investment. This is from Foreign Direct Investment Magazine. In the 2 decades to December 2023, it attracted more than $218 billion worth of foreign direct investment, more than any other state. And so that's where we are in Texas, and more than any other state. Its momentum is continuing to grow with a record high number of projects announcements last year. Testament to its universal appeal, its most popular sector spanned everything from professional services and renewable power to industrial equipment and logistics. The state has now become one of the symbols of the FDI switch from oil and gas to renewables. That's front and center in regards to what Texas is doing. And you look at about 1,900 companies that were actually located here in our state, 35 foreign trade zones, exporting, number one in terms of exporting for 22 years in a row. We've been at the top of that list 22 years in a row doing a lot of foreign direct investment. And so trips like this to the UK makes all the difference in the world to us. When you look at where most of the projects are coming from, or the capital investments coming from, the UK is going to be on that list as well. Germany, Switzerland, a number of these other places that are there as well. And so we can't assume that we're Texas, they'll come. We need to really make sure that we're getting out there to market our state. You hit the next slide. So I took this position back in November, had served as workforce commissioner, had worked in economic development for a number of years as well. But we went to India. We followed up from India to the UK. And then our latest trip was over to Asia. We did this trip in July. And so we're in Texas, hit Taiwan. So now we have a state of Texas office in Taiwan. We've had a state of Texas office in Mexico City for a number of years, our only trade office there. But now we're in Taiwan, set from that standpoint. Moving from Taiwan, we went over to Seoul, Korea, semiconductors. And there's a theme to all of these as well. Governor Abbott talks about the three most important issues that are out there right now: artificial intelligence, space, and I'm going to talk about space up there, and then semiconductors. You know, we're in that realm. And if you get that, if your state that get that, but Texas was like its own other country, but if you get that, you're in a position to do a lot of things. You're not going to get left behind. And so we want to make sure that we're in the thick of things, that not only at the state level, but our local communities have an opportunity to play in that space. And so we had about 20 member delegation with us on that trip, individuals from the local communities. And so, Bonnie, you can hit the next slide, and it kind of talks about some of the pictures from that Asia business mission trip. And McKinney was with us there, and Frisco with us on that trip as well. with another 18 other investors that were on that trip. And it's made up of economic development organizations and also private sector vendors as well. Very important to do that work that we're doing there. Samsung visits, and important because Samsung has one of the largest investments in Taylor, Texas right now. And so you're going back to say thank you for that investment. When we're in Japan, to say thank you to the Toyota family for that investment in San Antonio. That's a gift that's been given about 20 years at this point. And so we're short of 20 years, but we're excited about that investment. The next slide kind of talks about foreign direct investment. I kind of went over some of those numbers. You can't see that chart, but the governor's office has a nice graphic on foreign direct investment in the state. Their Office of Economic Development and Tourism has a whole publication about foreign direct investment and trade in Texas. Those are the companies that are doing business here. I mentioned about 1,900 that are here, and Texas is at the top of the list. I mean, we are there in terms of that foreign direct investment, but it takes the communities. It takes it at the local level to make sure that that happens. Here in McKinney this past weekend, Oktoberfest was taking place, and then we went out to the airport to tour there. The number of folks that are actually coming into to this region, this part of the world, and that airport that they have there where you can also fly international trips as well, that bodes well. When they talk about the growth in this particular region, some of the numbers are staggering. It kind of scares you at some points. And so they're in a position to do some things in a major way. Bonnie, you can hit the next slide. And I think we're kind of beginning to wrap up at this point. But I always say a rising tide lifts all boats. You're going to have individuals from SMU participating today. My son actually is a graduate of SMU. He's a proud Mustang, undergrad and graduate, and has that business or data analytics degree working for Southwest Airlines. And so those are, when you talk about the talent, I heard the gentleman from UNT talking about the talent and the individuals in that space. It makes all the difference in the world because as we bring companies here, we have to have the workforce in order to do it. And I always say that, again, the rubber meets the road at the local level, and that's where folks like Phaedra, folks like Judy McDonald, and the like come into play to do some amazing things to make sure that companies actually stay here in Texas. Some of our challenges down the line will be around energy and water. You know, those are issues that are of major importance to us to be able to sustain to be able to sustain what we have right now. Companies want to know that they're going to be up and running, that you have a reliable energy source as well. And so we're going to be addressing those things during the next legislative session. We're going to be a convener of those discussions. I would love to have any of you guys on board with us. Our office is in Austin, Texas, and we're making sure that we're making a big difference to make an impact. I'm going to look at the notes to see if I'm forgetting anything before we begin to wrap up, but I think that kind of covers a lot. I think I saw Cortland Wycliffe in here. Is Cortland here? Thought he was in the room, but if not, I'll see him in Arlington as well, and a number of other folks. But let me just end by saying thank you, first of all, to Phaedra for the opportunity. Let me say thank you to a number of folks that are in this audience that I've worked with over the years. In order for us to be successful here in Texas, it takes that collaborative effort and opportunity. Bonnie's with me from my team, and then Brooklyn is also here as well. But working together is what gets us down the road. And again, when you bring together the world's workforce, economic development, and education, workforce, economic development, and education, and you couple that with elected leadership who gets it, then once again, we're well on our way to success. And so, Cecilia, I see you over there. Thank you for what you're doing to help the workforce boards as well in that regard. And my last story, as Phaedra comes up, is basically I went running. Phaedra's one of the only Workforce Solutions CEO, president of the board that's actually gone running with me. The run was with Cecilia and Phaedra. And I'm running, and before I knew it, they had me in the middle. And they can talk, and they can really talk. And I'm a runner that doesn't talk. so I'm going to learn how to stay on the other side. But I had one on one side, one on the other side, and we made it work. But that's the delight that we have. We work together. We get a lot of things done running before time. I actually thought it was raining, so they weren't going to go out on the run. But true to form, Cecily's like, nope, we're going. And we were out there doing it. But you guys have a dynamic CEO. I appreciate the relationships. Mercedes, again, congratulations. Roger, thank you for your past support as well. And just the delight to see all of the folks that have been on these trips with us, Phaedra's team, as well as we go out to make a difference. And again, if I can do anything to be of service to any of you guys, I want to be in a position to do just that. And this is the last story. I'll share this one real quick. What's my time? My time. So as I talk about giving cards and saying, I want to help. This happened just yesterday. I actually had probably gave a business card out. I was on the South Texas College campus in McAllen, and I was in my room, finished a meeting, and I get this phone call, and it's somebody, I didn't recognize the number anyway. I picked it up, and this guy says, Mr. Demerson, and I said, yes, and he said, this is such and such, and he says, I said, okay, how can I help you? And he says, well, you gave me your card 2 years ago, and you said if I ever needed anything to call you. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, what do you need? What's going on? He said, well, my car has a boot on it. And it's a student. He says, my car had a boot on it, and I can't reach the folks to get it off. And he says, it's my fault. I had the boot done. I can't reach the folks to get it off. I said, well, is there a number on the back? He says, yes, I'm calling the number, but no one answers. I said, well, where is it from? He says, well, it's campus police. So I said, okay. Campus police. And so I have a good friend, Dr. Solis. I know him at STC, and then Dr. Rodney Rodriguez. I ended up introducing both of them, saying, okay, Dr. Rodriguez is going to help you with this, et cetera, et cetera. And so I let it go, went to my meetings and everything. I came back, and there was a whole dialogue between Dr. Rodriguez and Julio Guzman, the young Julio Guzman. Basically, Rodney put him in touch with the campus police and said, such and such is going to call you back. Make sure you pick up the phone and answer. And so Julio left me a message back saying, thank you so much. Everything worked out fine. He's set and done. And I told him, I said, Julio, continue your studies. Bring me up to date on what's going on from that standpoint. So I say all of that to say that if I say get in touch with us, I truly mean that. And I'm going to and I'm going to honor my words. So thank you so much.